God knows why we have to go through the different things we do. Even those nurses used to tell my husband, where hatujaiona mtu kaa wewe. Most of the people wanakujanga hapa na spouses wao wanawachanga katikati, but he was with me every chemo treatment, because during this period I was not a very easy person to live with, but with everything hata aka-adjust lifestyle yake to fit mine, and that is something I am very grateful for. In terms of sex drive, it goes to -10. So for somebody who has a spouse who is going through cancer and they are on the treatment, don't blame them. Si kupenda, haikuji. All through this process I had my hair, funny thing. And then I went to the bathroom, and when I'm showering, naona nywele zinaanguka. Everything was coming out, especially this back area. I thought I had self-esteem. Kumbe we. When I went to see the doctor, I'm like, oh, doctor, my hair fell off. He's like, it will grow back. I got diagnosed with leukemia early 2023. The kind of leukemia I have, the short form is ALL. It's called Acute Lymphoblastic Leukemia. It's normally diagnosed in children. Very few people who are adults actually get it, so it's very rare to find it. I've been battling ALL for the better part of 2023. I am not yet there, but it's still a journey. I have to be on this treatment for the next 2 years until I can be declared I am cancer-free. 2023 has been a year of turnaround. Everything in my life has taken a complete 360.
Take a moment and check out www.psychex.io, a trusted partner in mental well-being. With Psychex, you can connect with licensed therapists specialized in various areas such as anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. Psychex also offers comprehensive wellness programs tailored to boost employee morale, productivity, and mental resilience. So why wait? Take the first step towards unlocking your true potential today. Visit psychex.io and start your journey to mental greatness.
It started in 2022. I used to leave work. I get to the house, super exhausted. So I used to think probably it's just because I work far. So I used to think probably it's just the fatigue and the kind of work that I do. So I never thought anything of it. So it started with the fatigue, and then it got to the headaches. They used to move from this side to this side. So previously, I used to have migraines, but then I thought it's probably just the usual migraines. So I used to take the Tylenol for it. And then my partner used to tell me, you go sleep, because probably you're tired. So it happened for the better part of 2022. And then in December, because my nanny had left, so I was left to take care of my kid. And because I work in a school, and the schools were closed as well, and we were given the break for the Christmas. So I started, now there was this pain on my back. It was very strange. Nikilala chini, it is niko sawa. I couldn't even do the simple house chores like mopping, and I'm using a mop. I'm not even bending. Then I started losing appetite. Napika lakini I'm not interested. So nika notice after like 3 days I haven't eaten and I'm not hungry. And then I started losing weight. Ile yenye mtu unakutana anakuambia na umeanza kurudi shape. Unajua after you give birth you blow up like a balloon. And then people say, umeanza kurudi slim. So now in January, I think God saw this girl will not go to hospital. So I started having acid reflux. I told my my partner, akiniende, they call it ulcer gel. Akakimbia, he bought for me one. So now this is self-medication. He got me, and I took it. Naisikia ikiteremka this side, and the acid is coming up. It's like zinapitana. Acid is going up, and the ulcer gel is going the other side. So he told me, probably take it for a few days, then we can see. Then God said this one, if I don't make it worse, she's not going to go to hospital. So we took our kid to one of our friends. Then we went to hospital. I told them I'm having these acid flare-ups that are a bit worrying. So the first thing they did, they took my blood work. And then they gave me an IV. Apparently there's usually the IV thing for reducing the acidity. So while they were doing that, it's when they were testing my blood. So tulikuwa wengi kwa hiyo, the hospital, the room, actually it was at night. So the doctor was like, come. So we were like, kwani hata tumerukishwa line. So we got there, he's looking at me funny because I'm a psychologist by profession, so you can tell when somebody has something. Then he's like, I need to admit you. I'm like, why? He didn't really say, but you could see in his eyes there's concern. So we started giving excuses. Me and my husband were saying, we have a kid we have left in someone's house. I can't be able to sleep here. Story mingi too. Then he told us, there is somewhere you need to sign because you going home is against my wishes. I'm just going to give you something that is going to manage the pain. But you need to come here tomorrow for admission. So tukasaini hiyo kitu haraka and we left. I was feeling better actually after they gave me the IV thing. They didn't share any more information as to why he was requesting me to get admission. But as we were driving home, we had this red flag. Why did he look at us like that? And even when we requested for the medical report, he refused. He said, you have to come tomorrow for admission. So we went home. I took the drugs they had given me. And then after 3 days, God was like, this one, I'm going to make that pain worse. Yani hata ile unafikiria ati there is something serious, it wasn't. So we went back home, and then I went to school. I went to work. It was fine. Then after 3 days, now it came ile mbaya inanishika hadi koo. I can't even breathe. I'm taking the medication it's giving me. It's giving me relief for like 30 minutes. And before it was giving me relief for like 8 hours. So I decided, hata nikajiamsha tu mwenyewe nikaenda hospitali. So when we got to the hospital, I got there, I was actually alone because my husband had gone to work. They did the blood work again. The doctor came in with the same look he had before. So I'm like, what's up? He's like, I don't want to tell you things I'm not sure of. But you need an admission. Now that's the second doctor who is saying, I need admission. I'm like, why? He's like, your white blood cells are alarming. I'm like, what do you mean they're alarming? He really refused to tell me what he thought. So akaniambia, I'm only giving you medication for 8 hours. Because I started giving the same story I gave previously. Because I had left someone to take care of the kid as I went to, because msichana wa kazi hakuwa amerudi bado. So I had left a friend in the house to take care of my kid. So, and then when they were taking the blood sample, ikakata kuclot. When I woke up, there was blood everywhere. So I started asking myself, ini nini? So akanidunga hiyo shindano, and true to his word, it only worked for 8 hours. So when my spouse got home, nikamwambia, wamesema twende Aga Khan main hospital. He's like, what is wrong? Kambia hata mimi sijui, because today when they were taking the blood sample, hata my blood ilikata kuclot. So we went to, no, I didn't go, apparently. So the 8 hours zikaisha, the pain came back, and then I took the previous drugs I was given from the previous hospital. So they worked for like 4 days. Now it became so bad, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't stand. Now it became serious. Nikasema wacha twende main hospital sasa. When we got there, because the results from, I went to Aga Khan Kikuyu, so my results were sent to the main hospital. So when we got there, the first doctor who saw me, akaniambia, you need admission. As when 3 doctors tell you need to be admitted, now this is serious. The issue was still the white blood cells being higher than the red blood cells and my platelets. Sasa hata mimi sikujiambia, ebu go on Google and see what this is all about. So when I was admitted, I was treated actually for a condition called gastritis because of the acid reflux. But now looking back, I was like, I don't think I was having that. It was just a way for God to tell me, you need to go to hospital. So I was done. There is a sheet that the hospital has, every test. I think it's like, there's so many tests, I think it's 100 and something. They did all of them. Hakuna hata moja wa kufanya. So eventually, after I was treated for gastritis, I was given medication for ulcers, I was given the acidity ikapotea. Funny thing. And then now I was told, I remember that day I was kwa ward, I had like 4 doctors who were very concerned. Now that is when the alarm started ringing in my head. Ini serious. And they used to come and talk medical jargons. But what was consistent with everything they talked was my white blood cells are alarming. So nikajiuliza, si wende to Google uangalie what does it mean when your white blood cells are high. So even when my husband came, nikamwambia, wende uchukue hizo results za lab, because they print, every time they do a test, they print results for you. That time he went, akaambiwa, we can't give you the results. Because apparently now is when we looked at the results, and hapo chini every doctor was saying, test for leukemia. So when I was there, I started having night sweats. Nilikuwa naamka asubuhi, nimejaa maji. And the nurses were like, hey, this is serious. But I think they kind of knew, but they didn't want to tell me. And then I started bleeding chini ya ngozi. I had these red things all over. So I was told, now that the gastritis doctor came and told me, our work here is done. I want to pass you over to the hematology department. Now is where the bell rang in my head. You might not. So I remember that time my father-in-law alikuwa amekuja kuniona hospitali. Kamwambia, I'm just hoping I don't have cancer. Then he's a man of faith, so he was like, haiwezi kuwa hiyo. I was like, I'm sure sio hiyo. Maybe I have anemia. Because even my mom-in-law was like, inaweza kuwa ni anemia because of your blood thing. So when the hematology doctor came, actually I got a very good doctor. He started explaining and telling me, oh, I need to do a bone marrow. I need to take your bone marrow. And then after the results are out, that is when I will tell you what I'm suspecting. And they're standing there like 4 of them. I was like, you know what, can I just speak to one of you, please? So after the 3 of them left, I asked him, just tell me straight up, what do I have? He told me, no, I can't tell you because I need to be sure. Na saa hiyo nimeshaenda Google, nimeshafanya research yangu. Nimeona niko na cancer but sijui ni gani. So they took, I was put on nichukuliwe bone marrow transplant, bone marrow test sample. I went on YouTube. Thank God for Wi-Fi. I went on YouTube, I Googled how do they take the sample. Where? So me nikajiambia, probably when they're taking this sample, you'll be sedated and utasikia kitu. Let me tell you, Maina, they take it when you are conscious. So I think that day there were so many students. So I became like a museum. Because now they have not, I think it was something hawakuwa wameona. So they wanted to come see how the bone marrow is extracted. YouTube does not really tell you exactly what happens. Hey, nikawambia mimi hamwezi kuja kusimama nyi wote hapa kuniangalia. They were very gracious and then they said, how many people do you want? I said, just the ones who are taking the bone marrow. The rest, please. So wakanidunga shindano ingine hapo just to make me dizzy. See, you are there but you're not there. So the guy who took it, aliniletea mashida zingine later. They took the bone marrow, hata mimi sikuwa najuanga venye inakaa. So I could just see it in the tube. It's a lot. Inakaa tu bone marrow, the one for the nyama we eat anyway. But it has to be taken to the lab haraka before it solidifies. They have to drill through your bone. They go through they numb the area, then they drill kwa mfupa, then they put, I don't know what they put, then they suck the bone marrow. And it's taken karibu kwa hip bone, somewhere at the back. So wakafanya, nikaambiwa nilale, and I slept. I never thought anything would happen after that. So after the results were out, niko tu hospitali. And mind you, I was using my husband's medical insurance, so it's winding up. In 2 weeks, we had used close to, not even close, more than $500,000. So the results came out. My doctor came very early in the morning with the news. So actually where my ward was, I was just close to the nursing station. I could hear what they were conversing on, how they are going to break the news and stuff like that. So on this particular day that they were supposed to break the news, my husband alikuwa job. So it was me and my father-in-law and the doctors now. And then I was told, you have cancer, yes. They told me, you're very smart. We already knew you know that part. So the part that you don't know is which type. Nikamwambia yes, wakaniambia you have leukemia, ALL to be exact, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL. This is what is going to happen. Then they started the treatment plan. Haraka haraka hata kichwa ilikuwa I think I died in the head at that particular moment. as much as I thought niko na hiyo nguvu ama I am somebody who can take it, at that particular moment I went blank. So my father-in-law, I remember, we even joke about it now. He told me, so nifike hapa nje nakuja. So because the doctors were talking about these big medical jargons, he was like, can you explain to me in simple English, nielewe what you're saying? So he told me, let me get, nafika tu hapa narudi. So I was like, okay, sawa. So once I finished with the doctor, I didn't even ask questions. They tell you poop, and then I think as much as we are getting there in terms of mental health and counseling and stuff, I think daktari wanafaa kuwa na, I don't think they know how to deliver bad news to a patient. So nikapigia my father-in-law, nikamuuliza uko wapi? He tells me mimi niko home. So I'm like, where? Easy news that I have to be very careful whom I tell first. So I called a very good friend of mine because I knew she has akili yake iko straight. So I called her, I told her, hey, we, daktari amekuja ameniambia hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. Then the first statement alisema, actually she was not shocked. Ama kama she was shocked, hakuiportray ameshtuka. Akaniambia, we, itabidi umepigana. We need to fight this. So nikasema, now let me start calling the rest of the people. She talked to me for like, I think 15 minutes. I can't really explain what she was saying, but alirudisha akili zangu pamoja for the 15 minutes. So the second person I called was my husband because I know how he will react. So I told him, daktari amesema I have cancer. Then he's like, what? And then he started asking, unajua zile swali unaulizangwa kama mtu ameshtuka. I think nilimkatia simu. Then I called my mom. Then she had the same reaction, but mwenye alifanya sikukuwa haikuni affect sana kiakili was this lady I called the first one. Thank you so much, Joanne, by the way. So after that nikaambiwa, so I was discharged. Funny thing. So you remember the bone marrow I was walitoa. Sasa kufika home, I can't sleep. I can't lie down. Naumwa na mgongo. It was so bad. We were in and out of the ER every other night. Mpaka my doctor is asking me, bone marrow is not this complicated. Why are you in so much pain? Because before I was diagnosed with gastritis, it meant I can't be given a painkiller that can bring back the acid. So nikienda ER, they used to put me on tramadol. There was a night waliweka, I think like 4. I'm still in pain. And it's a very strong painkiller, by the way. So my doctor was like, "Izi ni nini?" After him, he could not understand why I'm in so much pain. So I will share why I was in so much pain hapa mbele. So after that, we were in and out. Mpaka watu wa ER walikuwa wamenijua, mimi ni customer wa usiku sana sana. Even the security guards where we stay were like, ni nini mbaya? Unakuja mchana, usiku unarudi. Yani it was just like a cycle. So after that, I got admitted. Then the doctor put me on steroids. That is what helped my back. Ikatulia. And at that period, ndio I used to stand. I get this headache that it could go back, nasikia ni kama nitaanguka. But then najiambia, hey, Consuela, you have to be strong. So the doctor, because they used to take blood work every day. I think akaona my hemoglobin is low. That is why I was having those headaches. So he came in and told me, yeah, you need to have a blood transfusion before I can give you. Now that is where the chemo word came in. Akaniambia, I need to give you a blood transfusion because your blood is low. And then you rest for a few days, then I can put you on chemo. Normally, sisi kama wa Kenya or Africans, when you see a post somewhere, oh, someone is looking for blood, we never pay attention to that. But let me tell you, kutafuta donors wakupatie just a pint of blood is not easy. Unapigia mtu anakwambia, I am coming. And hospitals can't give you blood unless somebody has donated for you. So it's ni kama for there to be a donation, it takes back the blood they have given you. So I was supposed to be given 2 pints. Tulitafuta watu. Tulitafuta watu wa kudonate mpaka nikajiambia ama nitoe tu yangu warudishe. So finally nikatolewa pint mbili, then I was given the 2 pints. It was my first time ever to be given blood. Oh Jesus. And then the funny thing is, for those who have ever received blood, ukishapewa, there's this mwili inasikiaje. It's like when you're really, really thirsty and then you get a cold Coke or cold water. That feeling is what you feel when you get blood na blood yako ilikuwa low. Nikajambia kumbe hivi ndio watu wanasikianga. So I felt strong because even the doctor told me after I give you blood you'll feel different. And true to his word, I felt strong. Nikajambia sasa I don't think I have leukemia. You know, probably it was just anemia. And I have a very positive, both my mom and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was like, unajua nini, inaweza kuwa tu ni anemia. Probably. Acha tuombe tu ikuwe ni anemia. I don't think ni hiki tu. So I was given the blood and then I went home, then came back because of the back thing. So I was admitted. And that night, I think it was at night, is when I was given my first chemo. So the thought of, even my friends right now, they usually ask me, chemo inakaa aje? Because even me, I used to think, probably it's a machine. Kumbe that is radiation. I didn't even know. So I was even asking the nurse, in your chemo? She was like, yeah. It even has time. It's supposed to run for, I remember my first chemo was supposed to run, one was for 10 minutes, and then the other one was for 15 minutes. It has to run for exactly your time. And it's sensitive to light. So it comes in a bag. That was also, I think, experience. I had never in my life kuwekewa cannula. We all call them drips. Nasema nimewekewa drip. It's a cannula. So nikawekewa my first chemo. The first experience of chemo, it's not a very nice feeling. Inakumaliza from the top of your head, unasikia tu ni kama unataka kufa. And it is only running for 10 minutes. So after the 10 minutes, akakuja, akatoa, then they flash it, they put water. Because it's red. I don't know if it's red or it's pink. when you go pee, your susu turns pink. So at this point, I had done a lot of research, nikajua itafika mahali, everything in my body will just die. And the truth to it, that is what happened. So after the first chemo, I was discharged, nikajiambia kwa roho, you know the way you console yourself and you're like, hey, let me go home. Probably when I come back the next time, it will be gone. So my doctor akaniambia, you need to come see me on such and such a day. Tukaenda. I see him with this long sheet of paper. Now I go and research, because I had done my research and I'm like, what is ALL all about? Nikaona it's cancer sana sana ya watoto. But inashikanga watu wazima, but for grown-ups, it takes longer. The treatment plan is longer than as compared to kids. Anjiambia, we. Sasa tukaanza kusoma with my husband. He's telling me, we, utaweza. Kumbe sasa hata tunajiambia hivyo kwa nyumba. Kumbe daktari anangoja kunipea shock of my life. So we entered his office. He's telling me, this month, you'll be getting chemo once a week. I said, once a week si mbaya. So it was every Monday. Now it was that one for 15 minutes and 10. So nikajambia, this is not that bad. So the after symptoms, hey, it kills even your digestive tract. Yani you can't hold anything, if you know what I mean. If it comes, you have to go to the loo. Otherwise, you have to take a lot of water for the dawa to actually absorb. So my white blood cells zikaacha kukua juu sasa. They came to close to 0. So zikiwa ziko 0, you have to be very careful, because you are very susceptible to infections. Your body can't even fight any infection. And at this point, hakuna mtu anajua what we are going through. It's just family and a few friends. So after the medical insurance ikaisha, tukakaa chini tukajiambia, na unaona hizi madawa natuandikia, how are we going to fight this? So we sat down, tukaona, let's create a WhatsApp group. We see and ask God akiaguze tu watusaidie financially. So we created a WhatsApp group, family, in-laws, tukaweka kila mtu hapo ndani. Tukasema, now God, this has come, it has visited. There is nothing we can do. We just have to. In everything that we do, we glorify him. So I told myself, I'm not going to say this thing was brought by the devil. I'm just going to glorify God in every step. Imagine with these tough economic times, people really held our hands. Hata mimi nilikuwa naangalia WhatsApp group, I'm like, we? Watu walitutolea pesa mpaka nikajiambia, aki ya Mungu. Kitu inaua watu wa cancer, aki si cancer, ni stress. Because ukifikiria you have to go take chemo, you have to look for money, because cancer in this country is not cheap. It's a lot of money. Sometimes dawa mbili goes for 90,000. And you have to have the 2. And you have to pay at the hospital. So ukiangalia in a day, you can spend even 150K. So nikamaliza hiyo chemo ya once a week. Tukajiambia with my support system, si tunaweza kuwa ndio tumemaliza. So we went to the doctor again. He told me, this month, you're doing chemo every day. Every day, you come. Haki Mungu. Nikajiambia for 20, actually it was in February, I remember. Nikajiambia in February, 28 days, kila siku chemo. Even the nurses who are at the oncology department God bless their heart. They asked me, you are supposed to come for chemo every day. I'm like, yes. This chemo used to run for 45 minutes. Mi nilikuwa nimezoea ya 15 na 10 minutes. Sasa this one is 45 minutes. And mind you, I am supposed to go to work. Because you have to work to live in this country and cancer is expensive. So I used to, natoka kwa nyumba, nafika Westlands najiambia, is it a must? Sinirudi tu, kwani nani atajua? Those conversations were in my head. Nilikuwa nafika huko hosi, nurses wananiangalia wananiambia, Consola, leo uko sawa? I'm like, no. So I got every day. So nilikuwa naenda mapema nipewe, ama I used to go to work. I used to alternate. Narauka, naenda, nawekewa naenda job, ama naenda job, natoka, naenda. Sometimes tulikuwa tunafunga na wao. Juu sasa you have to know how to strike the balance. Na saizo uko na mamask, saa hiyo sijui white blood cells ziko sijui ngapi, sijui red blood cells nazo zimetupa mbao, hemoglobin, I don't know. And you know these things we learn in biology. You think, kwani kazi yake ni nini? Kumbe they are very important, each one and every one of them. Ikikuwa wrong, lazima they bring it right. So I did that in February and March. I was on chemo every day. And then April, March, I started, we stay on the 5th floor. Singeenda past 1st floor. Nasikia hapa hivi ni kama heartbeat iko hapa nje. Siwezi panda stairs. So I go 1 floor, I have to rest. I go the other floor, I have to rest. Mtoi hata siwezi muinua cause hata nguvu hakuna. So nikaenda kwa doki akaniambia, we have to do a blood transfusion. Your hemoglobin is very low. And it was a 6. Apparently, kumbe ikiwa 6, you can even die. So I was admitted again. Hemoglobin was low. Platelets were not on the danger side, because even when they cross over to the danger side, you have to be donated for platelets. Hazikuwa zimefika hapo. Mungu alinisaidia sana, we never got to that point. So I was admitted again. Nikapewa blood transfusion. So the next month, nikaandikiwa kumbe when you have leukemia, and because it's in the blood and blood is everywhere, they have to put chemo that will go to your brain. It's called IT. So now, guy, they inject your spinal cord and put chemo hapo ndani, so it goes to your brain. Nikajiambia tena narudi hapo kwa mgongo. Nikajiambia sasa nitafanya nini? Na imeshasemekana. So even my husband used to tell me, do you have even an option? Because of the trauma ya hiyo mgongo, nikajiambia siwezi. Kanaambia you don't have a choice. And then the first doctor who did for me the IT was very nice. He made me feel comfortable as if he was doing such a nice thing to you. So akaniwekea. And then apparently before they put the chemo, they take off some spinal fluid. They test. I don't know what they test for. So nikaekewa IT, and then I was written for IT that month, I think weekly. I think it was weekly ama every 2 weeks. Lazima wangefanya iyo. So that month again, they had to take another bone marrow sample. So the first time they did on the right side. Nikamwambia daktari wangu, mimi the second time hautanipea wale daktari walinipea wa kwanza. So he gave me a different doctor who did on the left side. So when this doctor was doing it, akaniambia, Consola, you have very tough bones. So the reason as to why you had that pain, when they took the bone marrow the first time, they punctured a nerve. So for him, he took very, very small, alichukua bone marrow kidogo sana, cause hangeweza penetrate sana. But wale wa kwanza walienda sana, cause I could even see the amount of bone marrow they took. This other side, yeye kuniuma, by the way, it healed completely. So my doctor was like, by the way, there's something that went wrong during your first procedure. So they took the bone marrow, wakaenda kutest. The result comes out after 2 weeks. And then there's this mutation test that they have to do to see if it's in your, I don't know, genes or something. It's not cheap. It goes, I don't know where, it comes back after a month, the test result. So hiyo ilichukuliwa pia. And then now, this particular month, I think at that time I was admitted, something had gone wrong somewhere. So the doctor can request nichukuliwe spinal fluid, tena, that has to be tested. And then I think the person who took that spinal fluid, alikuwa overambitious. They took a lot of spinal fluid. Mi sikujua kumbe, everything in our body has to balance. So when they took a lot of spinal fluid, I couldn't lift my head. Ilikuwa inakaa hivi, naangalia na side. Unless I take coffee is when I can put it straight. So venye niliadmitiwa after the spinal fluid was taken, nikaambiwa, now you'll have to be taking coffee. I don't like coffee, but I had to. It was the only thing that was giving me the relief. So akaniambia after a few weeks, spinal cord itakuwa imetengeneza more spinal fluid, so you'll have balance. Because I used to stay like this, I feel like puking, I feel like I want to pass out. Hapa imekaza kama, hata sijui, ni kama kuna bone hapa, hata itaki kwenda 90 degrees. So March, now we are in April. I was now relieved. Now it was the chemo and the IT now ya mgongo. So nilikuwa nimetoka from the daily one. And then now later they kept on doing the blood work, because sasa ukiekwa chemo, everything is terrible. You have to be careful who you interact with. You can't even catch a flu. Even during this process, I had a flu that lasted for 3 weeks. When you have a flu, you can't take anything for it. So you're written for a dawa that you have to inject yourself. It boosts your white blood cells so that it's able to fight the flu. So later, because I was also on steroids at the same time, as much as nilikuwa kwa chemo ya IV, bado nilikuwa na tembe na meza. So I didn't know these steroids will bring consequences. So later, we took a walk, I think, jioni. I told my husband, well, me, I can't see. And I have this very good nurse, God bless, aki Mungu tu ambless mahali yuko. He's called Alex. I called him, nikamwambia, we, Alex, mimi sioni. Akaniambia, you need to go test your sugar. So hapo home nikaenda tu kwa, akaniambia, just go to any pharmacy and tell them to test your sugar. So nikaandika kwa WhatsApp group ya estate yetu, nikauliza kuna mtu ako na glucometer. Hata sasa najua jina. One lady said, yes, I have, you can come for it. And she was gracious enough, she gave me with the strips and the needles. So when I went to the chemist, this guy was like, where? Because the machine just read high. Hiyo inamaanisha it is, I don't know, beyond. So I called Alex, nikamwambia, wamesema iko high. Kaniambia, leo usilale kwa nyumba, itabidi umekuja hospitali. Nikamwambia, my husband, do we really have to go? Si maybe inaweza shuka usiku. So nikaanza kukunywa maji na kunywa maji na kunywa maji na kunywa maji. So that is when I learned kumbe maji iko kwa unakunywa, sio maji iko kwa damu. There's a difference. So as much as you take water, hata ukienda hospitali you have to be put water. So the next day tukasema tu acha tu tuende. I went nikaekwa 8 IVs hiyo maji saline, because apparently it dilutes the sugar. Dilute mpaka 24. I remember 24 is very high. So hata sijui ilikuwa ngapi. Sasa imekuja 24. So I am the center of attraction, because now apparently when your sugar is that high you can go into a diabetic coma. I didn't know. Mi niko nafikiria tu I'm alive. And I remember even when I was blind, isioni, I told my husband, nasikia kukunywa Coke. So he got me the moala, nikakunywa. Kumbe ndio sasa nimeharibu maneno. So kwenda naambiwa I have diabetes. I have diabetes. I have to be on insulin. I have to watch my diet. Na ujue saa hizo wanasema hivyo, hii mkono unaekewa chemo, because I was scheduled for chemo that day. So you have cancer, you have diabetes. Na si diabetes normal that unaweza meza tablets. You have to inject yourself. I have to check my sugar in the morning. I have to take breakfast, check my sugar after. Yani every meal you have to check your sugar, because of ililetwa na steroids. So nikajiambia aki, sasa diabetes aki kweli, mimi nitaweza kujidunga hizi mavitu for the rest of my life. Apparently diet, unakula carbs zinatoshana with your fist. Hizo zingine ni mboga. Ujaze mboga kwa diet. And you know the way carbs are sweet. Honestly, utakaje bila carbs? Nikajiambia haki ya Mungu, sasa hii maisha ni kukula mamboga. Even fruits have sugar. So even the lady who came as my nutritionist akaniambia, because that period I used to love eating strawberries. Yani mwili yangu ilikuwa inapenda strawberries sana, as much as I was nauseated and stuff, nilikuwa napenda. Ananiambia ati hizo strawberries you just have to eat 8. So unaniona mimi nikikula 8. Grapes nafaa nikule 8. Na hata nikikula I have to wait for 2 hours before I can eat something else. Nikamwambia Mungu haki, sasa hizi ni nini? Sasa hiyo hata when they are putting chemo, my veins collapsed. Sasa nikaanza kuambiwa itafika mahali we start looking for them from your feet. Then they gave us an option. They told us we have chemo pot and we have a pixie line. Pixie line, they put it here, and the chemo pot, they put it here. Then they gave us the disadvantages and the advantages. Tukakaa chini tukaambiana haki, sasa tutafanya aje? Si heri tu kwa sasa nani atakuwa anatembea na hizi vitu huku na niko na mtoto? Because they'll start even wondering, what are those things hanging from mom's hand, or they'll pull them. So nikajiambia sasa juizi zime collapse, and at that time it was only Alex who could be able to find my veins. Now you see why I have to. Mungu abariki huyo aki. So we did the surgery for the chemo pot, and I thought pia hiyo nilikuwa najiambia probably I'll be sedated. They do it when you are awake. So there's this tube that is over here that goes down. The chemo pot is right here. So this is where they put even right now when I have anything that they need to put me through IV, this is what they use. It actually goes direct to your heart and the rest of the body. So your diabetes, I stayed with it for a month. I used to pima, I used to watch what I eat, and then my doctor akapunguza the dosage for the steroids, because alisema with the cancer drugs, you can't stay without taking the steroids because they give you energy. Even today I took some, that's why so I reduce the dosage for the sugars to balance. So even right now I know when the sugar levels are high and when they are very low. And then now over time I stopped injecting myself because my sugars were stable, because there is a certain number it's supposed to be in the very early in the morning and after you eat. So I PMA'd for a month, nikaona the numbers are not alarming. Lakini sukari ikienda more than 10, you need to go to hospital. That is what I learned. So after the diabetes was over, he used to give me a break for a week. Unless I come up with, I used to have episodes where I just go to hospital, I'm very sick, and then he'll tell me, Consuela, you need to take a break for 3 days. Then I'm like, kumbe I didn't know these two breaks he was giving me, I have to be on meds, and those medications have to be finished. So he told me, you remember those 2 breaks I was giving you? Now this is in May. You remember those 2 breaks I was giving you? So we need to finish that this month, or else this thing will come back again. So I was on chemo every day again for another month. Yani, he called it, it was aggressive treatment. I don't know why, but it was very aggressive for those, since from January up to May. Then they did another test of blood work. Then I was given a 2-week, I think it was a 2-week break. And then I went back. Nikaandikiwa sasa, I was getting twice weekly, every day, every week, mara mbili kwa wiki, and also the IT. Because kuna wiki sikufanya IT. So, and then later he told me, hii treatment plan yako, it will go for 2 years. So right now I am on oral chemo, which means I have to take tablets every day, and once a week I have to take 18 tablets, which is today. So I'll be like this for the next 2 years until it doesn't come back, which is our prayer, that it doesn't come back. And the reason why I really wanted this story to go out there was because even through my journey, there is a cousin of mine who went through the same. And she really held my hand, because I used to ask her, hey, by the way, did this happen to you? Then she's like, yes, and this is what I did. Did this happen to you? Then she's like, yes. So I could hold somebody else's hand that is going through the same thing. I'm still going through it because I'm still on chemo, and I'll be getting the IV after every 3 months. So I can't take out the chemo pot. But it's a very long process, especially if you don't have a support system, if you don't know God. Because I think for me, we used to pray every night, and my mom told me, hata kama you're going through this, mkiomba, make sure you glorify God. As much as uko weak, as much as una feel like, hey, today I can't. And I remember even there's a nurse in the oncology, alitufanyanga session with my husband for like 30 minutes. Akamwambia even there are times she won't be able to pray, but do it. Kuna time tu nilikuwa nalala hapo kama mtu amekufa. Najiambia haki ya Mungu, si basi unichukue, ama what is all this? So it is not a journey you can manage alone. And for those people who have somebody who is terminally ill, usiwache kumsupport because ati finances haziko. Trust you me, God provides in ways you cannot imagine. And even the fact that my employer was was so gracious enough. She really understood the situation I'm in. She was not very, what's the word? Sikuwa napewa kazi mingi sana. And even the school that I work in, the teachers were very supportive. Even there are days I used to go nasikia kufaint. Wananiambia we katu, niambie chenye unataka nikusaidie. And I'm a school counselor. Now you can imagine explaining to a teacher, you need to do ABCD. Ndio unisaidie to counsel these students. And at the same time, you're also fighting your own demons. So, every person who is out there or mwenye atawatch hii and you have somebody mwenye ako mgonjwa, usimwache peke yake, because hiyo kitu ndio inaua mtu. Even that friend of mine who I called the first person, she used to call me evening and morning. Ananiuliza uko aje? Hata senye siwezi ongea, she used to tell me wacha tu nikae hapa kwa simu and then nitakata. So support is very important. So if somebody would have told me that 2023 ningekuwa in this position, ningekata. But God knows why we have to go through the different things we do. Even those nurses used to tell my husband, where hatujaiona mtu kaa wewe. Most of the people wanakujanga hapa na spouses wao, wanawachanga katikati. But he was with me every chemo treatment. If he's not around, my father-in-law used to stand in. Because you need somebody to even help you to go to the toilet. And you can't do it alone. So for me, that is the most encouraging thing I would tell anyone. And even just being on the phone with them, hata kama haizi ongea, just knowing in your brain that there is somebody at the end of this line is very important, because sometimes huwezi jielewa. And being a cancer patient, I've also realized temper. We get very temperamental. Hata saa zingine, I might talk to you vibaya, but si kupenda kwangu. It just comes out. So unapata mtu akisema, huyu ameniongelesha vibaya, and you don't really know the kind of demons someone is struggling with. And I have a toddler. I even thank God she didn't even know what was going on, because I used to go for 1 week, ajui hata mama yake ako wapi, nimelazwa hospitali. You even wonder, akiu mtoto, but then when you come home and you see them and you're like, hata huyu ajui ni nini inaendelea, it gives you the fighting power. And this process has also helped me to know who God is. God does not show himself in all the roses and nice things we all dream about. Sometimes he has to bring you pain for you to understand who he is. And through that pain, the kind of relationship you develop with him is what really matters at the end of the day. So, hata during this low moment, sometimes I used to sit on my bed, naambia God, surely, what is all this? Yani mna have conversation na mtu hata hayuko. Unamwambia, I still have a lot to live for. I work in a girls' school, and my work there is to be their psychologist. And I really want to help them through their mental journey. But God, why are you making me fight my own mental issues? So, hii process ilinifunza everything we go through, hata kama you are uko chini, just glorify God, because there's a reason why amekuweka hapo. We cannot all have good health, we cannot all be rich. And something that this government needs to do is, as much as we are all fighting for HIV and AIDS, their medication is a bit affordable. Cancer medication is extremely expensive. And if I did not have the kind of family and friends who held my hand, I am imagining for somebody who can't afford that. They will definitely die, not because they were not willing to get treatment, but because they cannot afford to. NHIF can only go far, and it gets to a point unaambiwa limit imeisha. What do? You have to rely on someone. And also for my cancer friends or cancer family or anybody who is fighting cancer, one thing we have learned is friends will run. Family will watch you from the fence. But the only person who will not leave you is God. We have seen it happen. And don't blame anyone. Somebody once told us, me and my husband, tukiwa tuko na hii stress, akatuambia there are some friends who are there for a season, and there are friends who are there for a reason. So you must not usichukulie vibaya when you're going through something and friends run away from you. Just know those ones who are there for a season, but there are friends who are there for a reason. So just learn to know the difference between the two. Na usikasirikie mtu ati useme, I was going through this na hawakunishikilia. Probably that was their cause, and when the river is done, there's a waterfall, so walienda huko. So just accept that journey. To be completely honest, I have never really paid attention to, just like any normal human being, you'll hear somebody saying, oh, so-and-so was diagnosed with cancer. You never really want to know which kind of cancer, what are the symptoms, how does it go about. It's not really something that I would completely say I have tried to research or tried to even put a listening ear to it. Yes, I have had family, I have had friends who have gone through it, and you are there for them, but you really don't know so much about, because cancers there are different kind of cancers, and you don't really know exactly what, because you don't even find out. Where boro umesikia somebody has cancer, you're not even really keen to ask what kind of cancer. So for me, this journey helped me even improve my reading skills. Because right now, the kind of research I have done and the kind of articles I have read and the kind of stories I've followed on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook is mind-blowing. And even there was this lady I was following on TikTok. She just passed away. She had ovarian cancer and she was very young. And the sad part about it was she was given this number of years to live, and true to the doctor's word, those were the number of years she had to live. So I would encourage anybody out there, any kind of terminal illness, try and read something. Even if you can't really read, watch a story of somebody who has gone through it. And even now I tell my friends, don't ignore any kind of symptom you might be having. You might be having these consistent headaches and you're like, nikimeza mara moja, I'll be fine. But you could actually be suppressing something that will blow up in your face, like it blew up in my face. So the small nitty-gritties, we need to take care of our health. I know we are busy looking for money, we are busy taking our kids to school, and we forget about our personal health. Just a visit to the doctor would save you a lifelong journey of tears. So ukiona there is a symptom that is keep on recurring, because for me, a simple thing like fatigue, I never thought it would bring me here. So listen to your body. Our body communicates to us, and we don't listen. Listen to your body. Some of the changes that I have had to make in my life right now is siezi. I'm not a social person. I can't go to social gatherings as much as I would love to because of the infections. And then also right now I am not, I was a very bubbly person. I used to love going out, having, enjoying time with friends. Right now I get very fatigued. So when there is an event or there is something that will involve me using my energy, I don't go. In terms of friends, there are some that I have accepted to let go. But one thing, my faith initially before this was I was not working on my spiritual life. So right now, I have had to really work on my spiritual life. And also I have learned to value family. Because at the end of the day, they are the only ones who will be in your corner when you hit the fence. And also, in terms of colleagues, the kind of colleagues, I think God alinipatia to the best colleagues, because there are things I could not do that they did on my behalf. They even had to adjust their schedule so that I could be able to fit. In terms of meetings, in terms of discussions, in terms of projects, some of them were held back until I got well. So this period has been an eye-opening 2023. Let me just say, I'm still not yet there, but I believe I'm getting there. And the kind of relationships that I've developed this year, I think I will cherish them for the rest of my life. Because I've seen people who have seen me at my lowest. Even when some of my friends used to come to hospital and they're like, wewe si mgonjwa. And also something I've learned is to accept because when I gave birth, I used to be very petite. So after I gave birth, I gained a lot of weight. And you'll get someone tell you, you need to lose this baby fat. So this process, imenifunza, a big body is fine. Because I think if I was very petite, sijui kama ningetobwa, because many people didn't realize I was sick, because I was this size. Hata kama weight used to drop, it was not very drastic. So I've learned to accept my body the way it is, and the changes that come with it. And even in May, my hair fell off in May. All through this process, I had my hair. Funny thing. And then when I finished in May is when I went to the bathroom. And when I'm showering, naona nywele zinaanguka. So I just took a chunk and everything was coming out, especially this back area. So I went to the barber nikamwambia, unaweza ona chenye unaweza fanya. Because I was still not convinced I told myself, kama nimesurvive cancer, na nywele yangu bado iko. God thanks. Kumbe alikuwa ananiambia, you wait, you will see. So ilianguka yote. I had this patch here. I thought I had self-esteem. Kumbe nywele is very important on the head. That's when I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, hey, kumbe I have a mango head. Like it looks like a mango when it doesn't have hair. Ikaanguka yote. When I went to see the doctor, I'm like, oh, doctor, my hair fell off. He's like, it will grow back. And the hair that will grow back will be better than what you had before. So right now it's inamea kama tunywele twa pusi, but I'm just thankful it's back. It was really bad. It has been exactly 7 months because I was diagnosed in January, and the chemo, the IV chemo, I had my last one in May. So I had June and July. The only thing right now that is really a challenge for me is fatigue. Nachoka haraka sana. So is it task ngumu for me? It's not easy. But compared to how I was then when I was on the aggressive medication, I am a bit better right now. I can even sit in a forum and laugh. Hizo time hata sikuanga nacheka, by the way, because I was not even finding anything funny. Na nikicheka, it was a fake one. But right now, I'm a bit better. My appetite is very good right now. I don't eat as I used to, but right now I can stomach a lot of things. When you're going through chemo, you have these cravings for certain stuff. And most of the time, somebody will call you and they're like, oh, you need to stop anything that has sugar. You need to do this, you need to do that. So, and funny thing for me, when I was going through chemo, I didn't like anything that had sugar. My taste buds for sugar were not there. So right now I've adopted that into my diet. I don't take anything that has sugar. And then also something that anyone who is starting this journey and wamefika mahali, they start seeing stuff that they don't really understand. One thing, your veins actually collapse. It's not your liking, it's because of the drugs. They can't find your veins. And then your nails darken, makucha zinakuwa black. And then at the tips of your fingers, they become numb. I used to hold a hot sufuria na sikuwa nasikia. So kesho ndakuwa like, we, kumbe nilichomeka. So this becomes numb. Your sight becomes pathetic. I can't do anything right now without glasses, and that is completely normal. Your memory. I have to write things now on sticky notes if it's very important for me to remember. Si kupenda. I might tell you, let's meet over the weekend, and the weekend just goes. I don't remember. Si kupenda kwangu. So the memory really gets bad. And then there are foods that you used to love that you can't eat right now. Like for me, I used to love eating fish. Right now, I can't stomach anything that is fish. So it is something that everybody has their own way, but that is my personal experience. And then in terms of sex drive, it goes to -10. So for somebody who has a spouse who is going through cancer and they are on the treatment, don't blame them. Si kupenda, haikuji. So that is something when we were done for counseling with my husband. So for him, he totally understood how that is going to be a process for him he has to understand that. So usikuwe na patient ako na cancer na ni bibi yako ama ni bwana yako and you're not understanding that fact. Iko hapo. One thing I'm very grateful for my spouse is he took in everything. He has seen me at my lowest and at my greatest. And I think it all came down to his faith and how he has seen his parents holding each other through thick and thin. So he was like, I'm going to be here with you through thick and thin. It's not been easy on him as well, but one thing he never did, he never showed me that side. Even when I used to talk to him vibaya because si kupenda, but he just understood. And even some of our friends used to call him to just ask him, unaendelea aje, because they knew sio rahisi. And even right now, people wonder how he was able to stand that and never missed a doctor's appointment as long as ako off. Hata akiwa job, bado ako na mimi hospitali despite him not being there physically. But I think when we are praying for a spouse, you should be very straight with God on which kind of a spouse you want. Because for me, I was raised with a single mom. And I've seen her go through things alone. And she never had a safe space to fall back on. And I told God, once I start this journey of marriage, ama nikiamua kuolewa, nipatie huyo mtu mwenye naeza angukia at the end of the day. Nisikuwe ati nafika nyumbani, sina mahali ya kuangukia. And true to his word, that is what he did. He gave me somebody who can understand me. Because during this period, I was not a very easy person to live with. But with everything, hata aka-adjust lifestyle yake to fit mine. And that is something I am very grateful for. And even for any spouse who is out there and you have a wife who is going through a terminal illness, trust you me, ukimshikilia, they will never forget that experience. And even for wives who have a husband who is going through a terminal illness, be there for them. These situations are not permanent. And in every marriage, lazima kukuwe na ups and downs. And I think this was our down, kabisa. And he was still there. So I also tell God, even in my ups, nisaidie akuwe hapo kuona. So that is what I would encourage any married person. We have not been in marriage for long. We have been married for 4 years. But even right now, you meet people, they tell us, you are our inspiration. Kumbe people were watching despite us not knowing. But just stand there with your person. Musioane juu or because of hidden agendas. There is going to be a storm. Every marriage has to go through a storm. How you come out of that storm shows how you are individually and collectively. My greatest prayer right now is Mungu aondoe cancer. I have seen kids as young as 3, 2 years taking chemo. That is my greatest prayer. God atoe cancer. It's nikidonda wezi. You can't be the same after you've gone through that phase. And I even sometimes when I was hapo kwa clinic, you see a very small child who doesn't even understand what is this. I used to cry and tell God, aki hata afadhali sisi watu wazima, we are able to understand. You can go to Google and tell yourself, okay, I'm experiencing this symptom. How do I move? But these ones don't know. And their parents are heartbroken. So my prayer to God is cancer, if cancer can be gone, I think we will be a better society. That is my greatest prayer. And also for the government of Kenya to see through cancer patients in whatever, hata kama ni drugs, the ones we are told to go back home with, itasaidia watu wengi sana.
Thank you so much for tuning in here on Shared Moments with Justus. Remember, you can support any of these women whose stories we continue to share by sponsoring their therapy sessions at Psychics, a trusted partner in mental well-being, offering tailored services for individuals and corporates alike. Let's provide a safe and compassionate space for everyone to process their experiences, address their trauma, and even develop coping mechanisms to navigate the challenges of life. I hope to see you again next time on the next episode, but until then, Visit psychex.io today and start your journey towards a healthier, more fulfilling life.